Yo, what is up YouTube? This is the Northvale here with my first upload to my channel. I'm kind of excited to bring you guys this Wi-Fi battle. So it's not Pokemon Black and White 2, but it is Pokemon Black and White. I'm going to get Pokemon Black and White 2 Wi-Fi battles up and going soon, but not at the moment. As soon as my I found either a better ROM or just an update on my kernel. But anyways, without further delay, let's go ahead and get you these team previews. Now, if you look at my team, I have a standard sand team. Nothing special about it. It's just, relatively standard sand. There's nothing good or exciting about it. But my opponent's team, on the other hand, looks pretty custom-ish. He has what I like to believe a Swords Dance, extreme speed, close combat, special attacking, max special attack, max speed, Heatran with Fire Blast and Stealth Rocks, Fortress with the rest of the hazards, and even Stealth Rocks just to back up, and Rapid Spin. He has a Scarf Hydreigon, special defensive Jellicent, and a Alakazam here, or a special attacking Alakazam. Now, as far as the threats go, the Lucario would have to be the biggest threat because if left unchecked, he can just come in and fuck my team up. Like, I'm sorry for using the F word, but it's the almost honest thing to say. If I leave that thing unchecked, I will get my ass beat down. But anyways, another threat would have to be the Alakazam. But anyways, the battle just started. So my opponent's going to go ahead and lead up for Lucario. Kind of good news for me because I decided to lead with Rotom Wash instead of Tyranitar. Just because I was kind of fearing this Lucario coming in first, because I was like, what if I left with Tyranitar and he brings out this Lucario? Then I'm pretty much screwed over. But he does lead off with Lucario, and I do pack Hidden Power Fire, which isn't much of a surprise. It's actually a standard Smogon set, which I don't know why most people neglect Hidden Power Fire, because it seems to be working out pretty well for me, because when I use it against those annoying Ferrothorns or Scizors, it one-shots Scizors and it two-shots Ferrothorns, because by the time they realize I have Hidden Power Fire, it's going to be too late for them. They're just going to want to sack their Ferrothorn. But anyways, I go for the Hidden Power Fire, almost take him down, and but he decides to hang on, or he does hang on, and does an Aura Sphere. Does about 89%, but not going to take me out. And he went for the Aura Sphere and not for the Swords Dance or Close Combat, which kind of tells me this is especially this is a nasty plot Lucario, which is perfectly safe to bring in my Celebi because the Vacuum Wave is predicted, because I'd want to believe that if you had a priority and you had the chance to take out your opponent, you'd go for the priority and not just go for the Aura Sphere and just hope that your opponent switches. But who cares what I just said? The main point here is that Vacuum Wave didn't do shit, and I'm going to go ahead and go for the HP Ice, because at this point I was at a position where I can just click any move and just like take it out. I was like, alright, I can click any move I want and pretty much take this thing out, and which I do. I click HP Ice for some reason, because it's the same purpose with Celebi. It's for Rotom Wash. I have HP Ice instead of HP Fire because of the fact that I catch those unsuspecting Dragon types off guard. Especially those Salamancers and Dragonites, because they don't really expect my Celebi to have HP Ice. And one time I was on PO and some guy just started bashing on me for having that set. But hey, it seems to be working out pretty well for me. But anyways, regardless, he goes on to his Hydreigon here. This is where I was kind of led on to believe that this thing was Scarfed, and I was like, alright, Scarfed Hydreigon wants to play that game? It's cool with me. So I go ahead and go out straight into my T-Tar here, get up the sand. And as you can see, this sand is over here. I'm just going to set up the sand. As he goes for the U-turn now, I kind of pull out T-Tar just to kind of scout here. I wasn't really sure if he'd go for the Fire Blast or the Draco or the U-turn, but he goes for the U-turn and it only does 90 damage, which is not even 25%, which I was kind of surprised at, because I was like, alright, that just tells me you're speed decreasing nature. And he goes on to his Fortress here. I guess just to get up his hazards here, because if you had a chance to put up hazards, why wouldn't you? But I go ahead and set up my Stealth Rocks. My opponent goes ahead and set up his own Stealth Rocks here. And right here I'm going to go ahead and decide to Fire Blast. The main reason why I didn't want to Fire Blast first turn was because I was afraid of the Heatran coming in and just like, him predicting me and pulling out Heatran. It's kind of, and that's going to be a big ugly mess. But then I took a really good look at it and I was like, why am I afraid of a Heatran when I can just, pretty much rape that thing? Because I'm a specially defensive T-Tar, and let's say let's say for some reason it's a Specs Heatran, and it has like Modest Nature Specs, and he pulls it out and he gets a Flash Fire boost. When he fires, and let's say he has Overheat, and let's say he fires the Overheat, the most it'll probably do is about half, which won't even take me out. So I was like, I don't even know why I'm fearing that thing. But anyways, after the Fire Blast, I'm gonna go ahead and set up Stealth Rocks. Because I know he wouldn't, because when I went for the Fire Blast, he went for the Rapid Spin, and I knew he would not go for the Rapid Spin again, because why would you go for the Rapid Spin on a big scary T-Tar that's about to, finish your Fortress? And which he actually switches down to his Heatran here, which is as I set up my Stealth Rocks, and then the next turn I proceed to use Superpower, and he goes for the Earth Power, and as you can see, that Earth Power didn't do crap, but my Superpower almost takes him out. almost, just almost, but I wish it did though. And this next turn here, I'm just gonna go play it safe and go for another superpower because, you know, I don't want to over predict and hit crunch, and let's say, you know, he decides to stay in and then just stack his Trand, and, you know, and he fires off a lava plume and I get burned. That's going to be no good because this T-Tar here is going to come to great use later in this battle. But as you saw right there, my T-Tar's leftovers went off first, which kind of tells me this my T-Tar is faster. And with that in mind, that just kind of told me that Rotomush is rendered useless because I was like, alright, other than taking out this Jellicent, this Rotomush has no other purpose. So I decided to go ahead and sack my Jellicent. I decided to sack my Rotomush here so I can pull out Skarmory because I didn't really want to take on Heatran with my Pokemon because, like, let's say I had a wrong Pokemon out like Skarmory and then he got Heatran out. You know, that means I have to pull something out to take a Lava Plume to the face, and I don't want to risk a burn either. So I want to take this thing out with the hazards. So I go ahead and sack Rotomush, pull out Skarmory just to kind of try to set up some hazards. He goes for a Scald here. I was kind of afraid he might get a burn. I was like, no, I didn't even look, to be honest with you, until the end of the turn. And as you can see, he didn't even get a burn, so I was like, alright, you know, that works out for me. And now this next turn, I am fearing a Scald burn, so I was like, alright, if he gets this, you know, if he fires off a Scald and gets a burn, that's going to be the end of my Skarmory there. So, and I want Skarmory to set up all hazards, because why wouldn't you want to set up all the hazards? But for whatever reason, he actually decides to pull out Hydreigon, and, you know, it turns out to be beneficial for him because, you know, his Hydreigon just pretty much butt fucks my Celebi because it's Scarfed, first of all, and second of all, you know, it just butt fucks Celebi because it has a U-turn. But anyways, we've been through this before. My Tyranitar always wins. I mean, my Tyranitar takes these U-turns like a champ. And he goes for the U-turn, but unfortunately for me, he gets a crit this turn, which I was actually kind of like getting pissed. I was like, oh hell no, you know, I started getting all mad. And then when he pulls out Alakazam, I put my head down and I was like, oh, this is a good game, because I honestly thought that I had no chance of winning and no hope and no survival, but actually he decides to go for the Energy Ball, which I was like surprised at, and, you know, I was like, okay, why would you go for the Energy Ball? But as you can tell, he lives with 7 HP, and I'm like, oh, you're such a champ. And then Tyranitar just like completely rapes this thing and tears it a new asshole. Look at that, he just crunched the shit out of that thing. I mean, he just tore him a new one. And when I saw that, I was like, that's when I was like, yes, yes, you know, I started jumping for joy. And he pulls out Jellicent here, which I was like, alright, T-Tar, I know for a fact that you're faster because your lefties went out first. So I go for that crunch and butt fuck this thing as well. So my Tyranitar here is just butt fucking everything, you know. It's just like, oh fuck yeah, you know, free anal. But unfortunately my Tyranitar is not gay, so it's gonna go ahead and decide to, you know, crunch them instead of eating out their asshole and giving them rim jobs. And but to every great Pokemon's reign, it has to fall, and same goes for, you know, great empires. So I'm gonna go ahead and decide to sack my Tyranitar. He's done his job. He, you know, he's had his time to shine, and he goes for the U-turn here. Takes me out. I'm gonna pull out the Heatran here just to sack it. And actually, the Heatran dies to one layer of Stealth Rocks and Spikes. I was actually thinking he died to 2 layers of Spikes and not 1. But either way, I'm kind of happy for that, so I'm not really gonna question it. He goes back onto Hydreigon, but by then it's too late. You know, I'm gonna pull out Terrakion here, and the only way he can probably really win is if he gets a crit on Draco, which is probably highly unlikely that he'll do that and that he'll get one. But if he does, I think this is like the only grimacing hope of winning for him. And it's going down, but nope, he gets no crit, and I'm going to go ahead and fire off a close combat, and that's going to be the game. Thank you guys for staying tuned for my very first upload. I'm sorry for it being so slow, but I try to speed it up, but no, my computer decides to be like, I'm going to freeze halfway through narration just to fuck with you. So that's why I decided to, cut it down by a bit more, but other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed my first upload, and stay tuned for more, please.